Is the bull market over? Is it the time to sell everything and run for the hills? Or there's another leg brewing up, which will take us to all-time highs. I'm talking 130, 150, 200K. Is that possible? Or is it not? Was 126K, was that the top? Well, we will be looking at something beautiful, which is known to humans as data, and we'll take a probabilistic look and decide if the top is in, if we should sell everything right now and wait for the bear market bottom, or just hold on and sell the peak so that everyone watching this can become millionaires and billionaires together. So we're going to be looking at technical indicators. We're going to be looking at patterns. We're going to be looking at the macro. All that to say, we're going to be taking a very objective view on what's going to happen and what could happen. First, let's take a look at this beautiful chart, all right? You could probably already tell this is the BTC USD chart, and these green lines you're seeing here, well, those are a very important pair of lines. Let's travel back all the way to September 2015, and as you can see, we came off this peak of $1,200. Oh, interesting times, all the way down to $41, and this was the 4-year cycle bottom, as you can see, and from there we have exploded to a whopping $20,000. And now if you look here in April 2018 and June 2018, the price lost those green lines, and because of that it reached all the way down to 3,500 from $20,000. That is great. Let's go to the infamous 2021 cycle. We've reached the peak of 69K, beautiful number. At first we touched this and bounced back, where obviously the top was in. Then we have lost those green looking lines, and if you look closely, it also acted as a resistance and dropped the price all the way down to $15,000. And boom, there starts our next cycle, which we are in right now. And we've had our fair share of decent 20-30% dips that we have in the bull markets. And as you can see, both of these times we held these green lines. And again, in this recent pullback, where we failed to reclaim this little line I've drawn, which is basically the previous top, and we are coming down to test these lines again. And taking a left curve view here, for me personally, as long as we hold on to this, the bull market is on. And if we happen to lose these lines, yeah, it's gonna be time to run away. This is the weekly candle chart, by the way, and I would draw this line at like 100K. And zooming into the daily chart, we could obviously get a sweep that looks like this, just below the 200-day moving averages. We have this, and then obviously we're not going to cleanly bounce off of this line, and only if the bull market is still going on, we might do something like this. And if that does happen, it's gonna be like one of the generational plays to get onto this last leg of the cycle. But obviously we are not conforming into any of the existing ideas for this video. We are not trusting in the Q4 cycle. Now look at this pattern right here. This is basically from the very beginning of the cycle, all the way from early 2023 to where we are right now. We went straight to expansion, accumulation, sweep, expansion. You get the point. Here it's more prominent. Accumulation, sweep, expansion. Boom, we had a little sweep here, VIX, and we are in a similar time right now. Again, the 100K is going to be the make or break for this, because this is a bullish market structure. We have higher lows forming, and if we lose this, we put a lower low on the weekly chart, which means it's going to be again pretty bearish. And not just that, look at this chart. This is the logarithmic chart of BTC USD. It's again in the weekly time frame. But the thing that we have to notice is that from the very beginning of Bitcoin, right, all the way back in 2009, all the 4-year cycles that we've had, they've been like exponential with a drastic drop. But if you look at this time, this is breaking. It's just going up in this parallel channel. And again, that's because this time we have the institutional bids coming in. So look at this chart. I often like think about this. Just look at this. Like, how different is that? And also, let me just share this chart with you. So this, without making this complicated, is all the way from back in 1948. This basically shows how the US economy is performing. So this is like the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index. Now look at this time here. This is where we are currently in this yellow circle. And let me know if you can find this type of pattern where we are in like just in this mid range here, not going down or not going up for a long period of time. Now this is the weekly chart to keep in mind. So this little circle here is 826 days long. Now let me know if you notice a similar pattern anywhere else in the past 27,500 days. Just let me know if you happen to notice anything. That is why this is weird. And also, if we go back to the BTC chart, this time around, macro and the US was getting into what is called as quantitative tightening, QT. But this time around, we are going into something called as QE. What most of these people or your favorite influencer is saying based on the last quote unquote 4 year cycle, as they call it, turns out it basically coincides perfectly with global liquidity. When the liquidity, basically QE and QT, think of it as QE, when we go into the easing, more money gets into the economy, and QT, the government or the Fed rather tightens everything. So think of it as the money in the economy, the amount is going down. All right, that's a pretty simple explanation. But as I mentioned, the liquidity in the economy is going up now, basically. So does that mean we're just gonna go up? Should you be buying? Well, if you do happen to trust in technicals, we have this multi-year resistance that goes all the way back to 2017 again. And the previous two cycles, the tops exactly got rejected off of this, basically the red line I've drawn here. And the same thing happened this time around. We only bigged above this line, only to close the price below it perfectly. But again, that's more rather on you, that if you believe in those lines and angles on the chart and how much of an emphasis you put on these. But we'll get into what we can do in a second, but let's go through more data. Oh, I have much more to share. And this is the M2 money supply chart with the Bitcoin price overlaid. And I think you've already seen this multiple times. And as you can see, this is what I've mentioned. This peak coincided with the crypto peak in 2017. And with this peak coincided with the 2021 peak. And now we are still growing, and this is expected to grow with the year on year growth rate overlaid as well. As you can see, the peaks coincide. But now this is not a peak, right? This is expected to keep growing. And if we look at this coincidence, rather, we can expect Bitcoin price to grow, obviously. And it's also like lags a bit behind. So yeah, that's that. And then this is the BTC Gold and S&P 500 chart merged together. And as you might already know, the S&P and gold are basically at all-time highs. And obviously, we can expect BTC to play the catch-up game. So basically, all that to say, turns out the 4 year cycle was just a liquidity cycle. And not just that, there's also something called as the business cycle, which also seems to coincide with assets raising in prices. That includes Bitcoin, obviously, because Bitcoin is an asset. Now, there are a couple more cycles that I want to show you. But before that is the bull market peak indicators. We have 30 different bull market peak indicators. As you can see, they range from all the different technical indicators, indexes, and whatnot. And since now, not a single one of these has been hit. And based on that, it's 100% hold time. As you can see, some of these, like the Bitcoin dominance, is obviously at 90%, and the long term holder supply is also hitting 90%. But although I say that, none of these has been hit. So you could take that as you want. And if you think in terms of politics and what Trump can do, Trump definitely wants all the markets, all the charts to go up so that he can be remembered. He wants the markets to go up. We'll not talk about all the Trump family crimes in the crypto, of course, but yeah, that is something people are talking about. But as you already know, gold is raising a lot in prices. That means fear and uncertainty in the investors. That means inflation concerns, and that means currency weakness and interest rates signal. The gold raising in prices dramatically does not equal good times. But all that being said, we are not economists. No, 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 we are not that. We do not have enough brain cells to comprehend what that exactly means, because all we want to know is if the number gonna go down or the number go up in the coming couple months or a couple more months until the end of the year, or if you believe this cycle is gonna extend to 2026, how far? That's all we want to know. So let me share something simple with you. AI model, and what that AI does is that it gives out this red, yellow, green, purple, and white colors based on all these like different and complicated inputs, right? So that our brains, yeah, this is your brain, this is my brain, beautiful brains, can comprehend this complexity. So that begs the question, what colors does that output right now? We'll get into that in a second. But right now, though, I wanted to share something with you. And that is very holy crypto. And no, this is not a sponsorship, just hold on. Because if you hold your crypto in a centralized exchange like Binance, Coinbase, Bybit, whatever, you're always at a risk of getting your funds frozen, the exchange going boom, and not giving back your money. That sucks. I've heard more than enough horror stories to develop a PTSD for having my money on an exchange or even trading on an exchange. So all I want you to do is go down below, just below the like button. There'll be a link to Hyperliquid, which is a decentralized exchange with the same order book style and can accommodate up to 7 to 9 figure trades, more than enough liquidity and nice tight spreads for you. And use my code FERBSTRADE for a discount in fees. And obviously, for doing all this research and making this video, so I appreciate a little something in return for it, as I'm not going to take on any sponsorship from our very reputable unknown crypto companies, nor I'm gonna try to pump and dump, and neither am I gonna make any money from the YouTube monetization. Right, enough self-promotion. This here is the 27 crypto cycle and how it looked like, and this is how 2021 looked like. We're probably not gonna get something like this is just crazy. And this is how 2025 is looking like. According to this, we haven't topped out yet. Good thing. But all that aside, what should you do? I don't know what you should do, but I will tell you something. I'm not going to try to influence your bias. You might have a bullish bias. I'm a bull myself. It's fun. Bull posting is fun. Being bearish is not. But we'll keep all that aside and talk about what can you do objectively based on all this data so that you can end up in a position where you make money and have enough capital to build the next bear market bottom or somewhere near the bottom if we get that. Since there are also arguments that we might never get a bear market. I disagree, but let's talk about this. A simple thing, a very, very simple thing. Two letters in fact, TP. That's right. No man has ever gone taking profits. For me personally, I'm okay fumbling the bag here and being in profit and missing out on all these profits rather than being euphoric here and then round tripping all those gains. I'm okay doing this. I'm not okay doing this. That's me personally though. So I've taken profits here, I've taken profits here, I've taken profits here, right? Obviously, I was like very bullish here, and then I took some profits here. But that being said, I still have a lot of capital invested, like more than I'd like to admit for the phase we are in right now. I do not have enough stable coins. That's for you to decide. Are you okay round tripping all these gains? Are you okay going back to zero? Or you can take some profits here, you can take some profits here, you can take some profits here, you can take some profits here and here and here. And in the end, obviously, you might not make as much money as you could have if you sold everything here, but the likeliness, the probability of you doing that is very, very low. So TPing is the best option that you have. And that doesn't mean you have to exit entirely because we don't know if the cycle is going to extend to 2026. We don't know that. Why would you sell everything here and miss out on 10x of that? But again, that doesn't mean you cannot sell 50% here. That doesn't mean you cannot sell all your vaporware here. And that doesn't mean you can sell all your bags here and invest into the top 10 over this period so that you can make all these gains. So my plan, it's pretty simple. I've taken profits. I'm going to keep taking profits. And as I've shared the 50-week EMA, if we do happen to bounce off of that, that will be my confirmation that the bear market is not an option that we are looking at right now and that the bull continues and new highs are coming soon and everything looks optimistic and I can keep targeting the top right corner of the chart. And that is a beautiful thing. So yeah, I'm not going to sell everything here. I do think we expand to 2026 and I'm hopeful of that, but hope is not a strategy, obviously. So I'm taking profits here so that even if a bear market continues, I won't lose a single cent. I'll still be in profits. I would have made a decent chunk of money in the bull market and I will survive the bear market. That's the plan. With that being said, go check out my referral links in the description and feel free to explore more of the videos on the channel on how to make money from DeFi.